up late, charts on fire, red and green like a funeral pyre. Discord screaming LFG, but my portfolio's haunting me. Spiked my coffee with regret. Last night I longed to break out bet. Now I'm broke, not broken yet. Just one more pump, I won't forget. Buy high, die hodling. The 10 brain dopamine's controlling. Ride the whale, get wrecked clean. This crypto dream's a guillotine. Fake guru with 1,000 subs showed me coins in shitty clubs. Promised moons, Lambos and jets. Now I'm left with JPEGs and debts. Scalped my soul in a 5-minute chart. Market dumped and it ripped my heart. But I'll reload, I'll play to win, even if I lose it all again. Buy high, die hodling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. Almost God, greed's the king. This crypto dream's a punk rock thing. In the glass, risk it all, no brakes, full gas. Liquidation, call me sweet. Whisper welcome to defeat. No stop loss, no regrets. Code and chaos, no safety nets. Satoshi's ghost in my DMs told me to aim again and again. Buy high, die hodling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. If I crash, at least I tried. In this wild west of blockchain rise. I'll be trading till the lights go out. Charts are noise, but I live for the sound. One candle spike, and I'm back in town. Crypto's a fight, and I'm 10 toes down. Diamond hands with the crack in the glass. Risk it all, no brakes, full gas. But I'll reload, I play to win, even if I lose it all again. Woke up late, charts on fire, red and green like a funeral pyre. Discord screaming LFG, but my portfolio's haunting me. Spiked my coffee with regret. Last night I longed to break out bet. Now I'm broke, not broken yet. Just one more pump, I won't forget. Buy high, die hodling. The 10 brain dopamine's controlling. Ride the whale, wrecked clean. This crypto dream's a guillotine. Fake guru with 1,000 subs showed me coins in shitty clubs. Promised moons, Lambos and jets. Now I'm left with JPEGs and debts. Scalped my soul in a 5-minute chart. Market dumped and it ripped my heart. But I'll reload, I'll play to win, even if I lose it all again. Buy high, die hodling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. Almost God, greed's the king. This crypto dream's a punk rock thing. Diamond hands wild west of blockchain rise. I'll be trading till the lights go out. Charts are noise, but I live for the sound. One candle spike, and I'm back in town. Crypto's a fight, and I'm 10 toes down. Diamond hands with the crack in the glass. Risk it all, no brakes, full gas. But I'll reload, I play to win, even if I lose it all again. Woke up late, charts on fire. Red and green like a funeral pyre. Discord screen and LFG, but my portfolio's haunting me. Spiked my coffee with regret. Last night I longed to break out bet. Now I'm broke, not broken yet. Just one more pump, I won't forget. Buy high, die huddling. The 10 brain dopamine's controlling. Ride the whale or get wrecked clean. This crypto dream's a guillotine. Fake guru with 1,000 subs showed me coins in shady clubs. Promised moons, Lambos and jets. Now I'm left with JPEGs and debts. Scalped my soul in a 5-minute chart. Market dumped and it ripped my heart. But I'll reload, I'll play to win, even if I lose it all again. Buy high, die huddling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. FOMO's gone, greed's the king. This crypto dream's a punk rock thing. Diamond hands with the crack in the glass. Risk it all, no brakes, full gas. Liquidation, call me sweet. Whisper welcome to defeat. No stop loss, no regrets. Code and chaos, no safety nets. Satoshi's ghost in my DMs told me to ape again and again. Buy high, die huddling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. If I crash, at least I tried. In this wild west of blockchain rise. I'll be trading till the lights go out. Charts are noise, but
Good morning, guys. My camera's all messed up. Yeah, my system just basically crashed while trying to get into this live. So just give me a moment. I'll get the camera working here. Not sure what happened there. Turn this on. Let's get my whole settings all set up again. Okay. Almost got it. What is going on today, man? This is rough. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, my computer just went haywire trying to get this live going. I'll talk about what I'm planning here for a potential short coming up soon. There's a couple conditions that could occur that could have a strong continuations, but there's a lot of opposing confluences that we're starting to meet. There we go. I found it. All right, let's get this fixed. Let's move you over here. There we go. All right, sorry about that. All right, all fixed. Come on, you jumped in the short already, man. Savage. Well, I guess there's a giant cell wall above us. Okay, let's get to it. So, I hope you guys have an awesome day. I just want to quickly go over my trade plan, just in case anyone's in a position. We might be getting a reaction very soon. We're currently testing this previous high, potentially as a form of support. If we get that bounce, then we have the confluence of us using this form of support as a form of support as well as the 4-day value area low. Yesterday's short worked out extremely well. We looked for a bearish change of character at the value area high. There's a retest opportunity for anyone who is late to the party, who just jumped in during the YouTube live. And then our target was basically this low. We had a 45-minute order block here as well, which generated a front run to the golden pocket. And now, after getting acceptance into the value area as a form of break of structure, we started getting that rotation back up to the value area high. This happened relatively late at night. It was around 9 p.m. when it confirmed Eastern. And we hit the technical target of this, which is you can target the value area high, or you can target the massive amount of liquidity that's right here that we just grabbed. So just be aware that this could be a trap, but we did mitigate this supply now. And there's a supply here. There's a 1,500 Bitcoin sell wall here in the order books. There's the point of control, and just above that we have a golden pocket from this high to this low. If you were to do that pull, this is our golden pocket here, and our 786 aligns with the 4-day value area high. So if we don't get the rejection here, we have good confidence to prepare for a rejection here. But I would much prefer it to be here, of course, because we have a lot of great confluences here for a potential short. What we want to see in terms of structure is a potential higher high, right? If this candle closes red especially, if this candle closes red, we have a proper pullback. And if we get the higher high and then take the newly formed low, then we'd have a bearish change of character. And it would also tell us a story of us getting rejected at this 250-day value area high again, and a failure of acceptance into this value area, this local one here. So that's great confluence. And on top of that, we have a deviation of the active value area that we could potentially escape. If we get the higher high close and we get it above the point of control rather than just some kind of sweep, then we do risk a continuation to the value area high here. So I'm being mindful of the fact that we just took a crap ton of liquidity here. If we look at the liquidation heat maps, when we refresh the 3-day charts, and the reason why we're looking at the 3-day is because the age of the range that we're in. Right here to here is 2 days and 13 hours, and the wraparound time is 3 days on that. We can see that we grabbed all the liquidity that was above those highs, and that liquidity can be used as exit liquidity for market makers. And now we can see that most of the weighted liquidity is below us. There is still some above us, but most of the weighted liquidity is now below that most recent low right here, and it could give us a reasoning to draw the price down towards it, and then we'd likely tap our golden pocket at that point. And this golden pocket is a pull from this low to this high right here. Okay, so I'm preparing for, my bias is preparing for a short. There is a scenario where we could prepare for a long, but we're kind of far away from it, in my opinion. And it's kind of high risk, in my opinion, to be jumping in on a long if we break above this POC and we target this value area high. Like, our risk to reward ratio might not be that great, depending on where the low is. Right, we're looking at like a 1 to 1.44. You can target the extreme highs if you'd like, but I guess you're not asking for that much, getting it to 71,100. Just have that small opposing barrier here. So, yeah, just gotta be a little bit cautious when we're thinking about longs, especially when you have a big run leading into that. It creates a lot of FOMO, creates a good trap. So the buyers could be getting trapped in here, being used as exit liquidity alongside with the liquidity that's up here in the form of liquidations and stop losses. But yeah, that's what I'm preparing for. If we get that higher high and then we close below the low, the main barrier you have to watch along the way is right here. We got a little bit of demand. We have our point of control for the value area at 66,977. We have our 15-minute orb that was created here, telling us that this could act as a form of potential support as well. So we have a lot of opposing support against us, but we have a decent gap based on our current posture to prepare for that. So if we have an opposing reaction here, we can get out with a small gain or break even, depending on how you react to it. But once we lose that momentum and get acceptance into the orb and breach this point of control, then we're kind of, this is the only boss fight that we really have. And then after that, we'd likely just fall right down to our 65K area. And the trend will be on our side for a short setup. So that's my game plan today. Today's also giveaway day. So anyone who's here, you can start typing the word giveaway into the chat if you'd like. I already have the system running, and I can go through that later. I want to take a look at the chat though and see what you guys are up to. Pulling this up. We're about to hit anchor VWAP from 126K in the upcoming order block, or from 68.3. We can bet we can see us easily going for 74. Let's take a peek at look. Let's take a look at Manybox and what he's talking about there. So he's talking about anchor VWAP from, this is a trend-based VWAP when you pull from this high. If you go over here, where is my brain today? There it is. Okay. Same location where you'd find your long and short position tool, you'd find anchor VWAP. And basically how this works is, depending on where you click on the chart, it's going to generate an average based on the volume conditions and the candle close data. So we were to click from the high, we'll get this trend line here. It's like at 93K. So I'm not sure what you mean by that, man. There's a lot of distance between us and there. The bullish scenario that I'm seeking is a little bit more macro. We didn't take the low yet. I am hopeful that we do, but this could become like an ascending double bottom reaction. If we find support off of like 72.4, right? And we break past this area and we use it as a form of support, then we can start looking for like our higher time frame chalk levels, our key like strong highs right now that could act as a barrier. We have our 12-hour and 8-hour order block up here at 75K, 75.4. That could act as a barrier. And depending on our positioning, right, this is a big supply area. We got an order block here and our downturning momentum. Like, I'll be preparing for a potential short here as well to bring us back down to retest like the 250-day value area high here. But yeah, I do think that we're more likely to get a drop here, but we just got to wait and see what the market gives us, of course, because the invalidation of this short would come pretty darn quick, right? All we'd really need is a proper form of acceptance above the POC and into the golden pocket, and then those opposing threats are now basically gone, and we can see us lead up towards those highs. And you can either sit on your hands and wait for a short, or you can take the high risk long. In my opinion, this is a kind of a high risk long, and you can hope for continuations to give you the proper risk to reward ratio. But yeah, we do that. Those the golden pocket POC supply has now been fully mitigated here. So it's just a matter of waiting for the posture. We have the positioning. We just need the posture. So higher high, close, sweep. You can take the SFP if you'd like. If this candle closes red, then we'll have a valid pullback to define this as an SFP. Anytime that you can see a break of structure occur is also a time where you can prepare for an SFP reaction. And all that really is just a candle coming up, right? After we have the proper 2 candle pullback. And that candle sweeps the high but doesn't close above the high. And so long as it closes below this wick, it's a valid SFP. A higher probability follow through to the SFP target would come from a close below the bodies as well, though. All right, we got our close. So now we have a proper pullback. So basically all we need is that higher sweep. And then we look for the pullback from here. You can look at lower time frames if you'd like. This is the 3-minute time frame. It's less reliable, but it's a great time frame if you feel like the volume is really high and you need to dissect things. Like right now on the 3-minute, it's telling us a story that this is like the active local demand. We're trying to use it as support for a bounce. And a close below it would mitigate that demand and likely drive us down to retest the orb high again. So I'm hopeful that we maintain this positioning. So we have a cleaner structure for like more of a, for the long, so we have the larger time frames kind of agreeing with us as well, and not just some kind of like the short-term time frame scalp move, because this will likely just induce a bounce from here if we don't get that high taken. We'll see what happens. We could have, this would basically tell us a story of an aggressive reaction similar to this, coming right back down really quick, like here and here. Whereas this is the kind of posture that I'd prefer, like leading the masses into, right? Because we have a lot of evidence that our position would be guarded. Let's take a look at the chat. Oh, lots of giveaway words. My bad, Kyle. I got confused by my lines. It's from the last. Okay, that makes way more sense. Okay. Last high at 79. 6. Okay. I got you. So let's take a peek at that. That makes way more sense, bro. You're talking about this peak here. So we have, 2 key areas you can pull an anchor VWAP from, other than the all-time high there, which has got some time to catch up. You can also pull it from like 98, this 98K high from here, right, which is aligned with that supply zone. And then we have what you're suggesting here, which is a little bit of based on a lower time frame pivot, like 4 hour, maybe 6 hour. And this is what you're talking about here. So this is great. Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. It's good to point that out. So that's just another form of opposing confluence based on this momentum from this leg down from the supply. We're testing that as a form of resistance too. So it would make sense to have a more volatile reaction, but you got to give your stop loss a little bit more breathing room. You can't just use this high in case it does get swept. We do know that there's a sell wall here of it might be mitigated. We can look at the order books together. So let's pull that up. Okay, so we have 69K. About 300 Bitcoin left at 69K. Okay, so these are newly added positions. So people are trying to limit order in right here. And let me see that actually. Is that a Liquick? That would be a Liquick location. That is a Liquick location. So there are people trying to enter right now on a limit order based on Liquick prediction. And what a Liquick is, basically if you pull a fib from the high to the body of a candle, you get a level where people try to enter a short off of them, or in this case it's a short. You can have Liquicks in the bottom too. And they'd use their stop loss protection would be up here, right? Sometimes they'll look left for other forms of structure for a guard, but we have, order books, POC, anchor VWAP on our side. So there's what I would prefer if you're be doing stuff like that, you'd really dissect the lower time frame structure, like even the 1 minute, and see if you have an opposing bearish change of character, and then enter. Don't just limit in like what's happening right now. We have people limiting in right here for a short in a future space, so they could just end up becoming liquidity. Okay, get a low time frame right now. Regression trend, just chilling, using this form of support. It's doing what we want it to do. Literally doing what we want it to do. It's building that posture that we need to find a good key level for a short. You guys got plans for the weekend? It's Valentine's Day. We have the chat. We got Ramis, Digger Charts, what's up? Trip, greeting programs. That's the most like we're trapped in the simulation greetings I've ever seen. What's up, guys? Those who can't read can bum. Just a dark joke. Okay. Everyone getting their words in for the giveaway. While we wait for that posture here, we'll take a look and see if the giveaway system's working properly. Yeah, it's got everyone's. If you see your name here, you're logged in already. Yeah, Alex, you're in there. Willis, you just got added, man. Andrew, you're in there too, bro. Blockchain, Diggy Dog. Yeah, Shimon, what's up, bro? We got Buckeye, Richmond, Vintage. Yeah, if you guys see your name in here, you're already logged in. All you gotta do is write the word giveaway once, and then you have the opportunity to win one of two prizes today. Today, we're giving away like a $6,000 account from Klein Funding. Klein Funding is like a prop firm account. You can use, they're partnered with Bybit, so they use Bybit's charts, and you trade on their platform, and you're given an account, and you receive about like 90% of the profits. It's a good way to get started in the space after you've proven that you're profitable. If you win this account, guys, you don't have to rush to use it. You could sit on the account for a while, wait until you've proven to yourself that you're profitable through paper trading and with proper risk management. And then you can use the account as a good way to start up. And then you can take those profits, move them into your actual exchange account. And it's a good way to get started in a low risk way. And then our next prize will be $100 worth of Karma tokens, which in itself will, the longer you hold it, the more you earn, because it has like a reflection reward system built into it. We're getting there, guys. Getting close to the positioning structure that we want. We want to sweep this high. And you can take the early front run entry, just know that it comes with higher risk. The sweep. We're at our Liquick area, I believe. And we're looking at it on the hourly time frame. From this high to this low. Yeah, we just tapped it. So now it's just about waiting for opposing structure in the lower time frames. Like you can use like 1 minute bearish change of character. So you need one pullback, then a higher high, then a close. You get that change of character. When you're trading at this low of a time frame, you have tons and tons and tons of opposing threats. You got to listen to the rules of that time frame, and this is your opposing threat. So you'd be begging for this to break at a low time frame. I'd rather, take things safer, more consistent, stick to like 3 minute, 5 minute, 15. The 15 is my favorite time frame. So if we sweep that high, then close below the 15-minute low, then we're off to the races down. And I'll be using the strong high as my stop loss guard. Now, what we wouldn't want to see, unless you're looking for a long here, is a close of conviction, like above this wick, like a full body candle close. And we got 5 minutes left to find out. We could also be stuck here in consolidation for a bit. We are coming into weekend, so we'd want to have a decent distance away from our entry before the daily candle closes. The weekend volume sometimes can be dreadful. But we got some insufficient price action here, so the drop could be quick, at least up until here. We'll be doing our giveaway very soon, guys. I was waiting for this cow. You're losing too much. The Valentine's Day promo code. Let's do that. Let's get that set up. I think I already might have it. Okay. Alex, good luck on your weekend endeavors. What's up? We got Chow here. What's up, man? Alex Crypto. What's up, bro? How you doing, man? Your weekend plans. Yeah, that's great. That's funny. The kids aren't watching right now because they're at school, but we got them some stuff for Valentine's Day and some cards and stuff. It's the one thing that my parents used to do when we were kids is give us like Valentine's Day stuff. And okay. What we're going to do is we're going to match the Black Friday offer for 50% off for life. Think of it like a, two for the price of one. So you can bring your significant other in here if you want. I know that's one thing that people struggle with in trading is they'll try to get your family on board with the fact that you're not just sitting at the computer doing nothing, right? You're technically working, trying to, you're learning. You might be in the learning phase. You're trying to figure this out, and trying to get your family on board, trying to get them to understand that you can't just step away sometimes from the charts. The more you guys learn and your own strategy, the more you'll understand how far away you are from your conditions for a setup, and you'll be able to better set your alarms and prepare for your setup in a way where you don't have to stare at the screen all day, right? You can do your initial TA, and your initial TA might take you 15 minutes to a half an hour, depending what kind of strategy you do. Like if you're scalping, usually when you're doing your top-down analysis, you don't have to zoom out as much if the charts haven't really evolved very much or the conditions haven't changed very much. But as soon as conditions change, then yeah, it could add some time to your initial morning TA routine. But yeah, what you got to do is communicate with your family as much as you can, what your goals are for that day. If you're in the learning process, what are you trying to learn? And then they'll more likely respect your time, right? So you don't just look like you're sitting at the computer. I know that was a problem for me for a while. And And like, luckily, my wife actually joined me in trading, and we grew our accounts together. And like I grew my account from like $26 to $15,000. She grew her account from like $400 to like $8,000. And then the COVID crash wiped us like half out. We lost like half our account. And then that's when we realized that our risk management wasn't there, and we just had to fix those few things, and here we are now. But she never came back to trading after that. Like some people, after a big loss, it's tough to get your confidence back, and for you to admit that you're like wrong, and you need to figure out what went wrong. Take it as a learning process so you can continue forward and learn from it in a way where you can actually benefit from your loss. Treat it like a paid lesson. Hopefully you make those lessons as affordable as possible. And then, then you can start progressing and become a profitable trader. But, all right, guys, so I got the promo code ready. So you can also use, Valentine's is the code. You can type that in the chat here for you. So if you decide you want to join as a member, it'll give you 50% off for life. Same promo that we did on Black Friday. I didn't think I'd do that promo again until maybe November, but it's Valentine's Day. It's a good time to, and if you're, alone for the weekend, which sucks, it's a good time to build your own character, get to learning, and get started in your trading journey. If I'm looking left right now, it's just because I'm also setting up for the other plan and not just the other one here. There we go, almost done. Yeah, happy Valentine's Day, man. Normal memberships give you access to all the courses. Yeah, so there's two membership plans, guys. There's the one that there's a standard membership, which gives you access to the signals, the community. It gives you access to we get access to the 30-day blueprint course. And then the elite membership gives you access to calls. So every single morning we do trade hunting calls. We have lesson calls on Monday nights. We have lesson calls on Tuesday nights. We have in about an hour, 2 hours from now, we have a lesson call from David, who's also a swing trader. So you're getting lessons from different traders with different trading styles that can suit. We'll just try to find something that'll suit your life, and then we help you become a profitable trader through the lessons. And while you're learning, we work on helping you earn at the same time. But the most important thing you have to do when you first join is take at least the beginning of the course. Even better if you take the whole course, so you have a good understanding on how to follow the signals safely. Because even though I can give you tons of winning signals, winning trades, but if you don't know how to execute it properly, you can still lose on a winning trade. So it's really important to take the course. It's included in the membership, so you don't have to worry about paying like $1,000 or any upsells or anything crazy like that. Is Klein funding genuine? Yeah, they're genuine. They do provide payouts, so you're all good there. Some of our coaches use it as well. Okay, payments. I set it so 100 people could use the code. All right, all set up. All right, so the codes now work if you're interested in joining. But let's get to the giveaway while we're waiting on structure too. So we have our giveaway here. We got lots of people in today. How many we got? 63 and counting. How many people we have watching right now? 74. Oh, nice. What's up, guys? Big party in here. All right, so we got everyone but 10 added already. If you're having a hard time typing in the chat, all you gotta do is subscribe. I might have a 1-minute delayed timer on there just to prevent scammers from just subscribing to spam you guys and then leave. Yeah, 66 entered out of 72. So we almost got the entire crew here added in here. If you're driving, please be safe. If you're going to be typing the word giveaway. All right. 60, 69. Okay, we got to stop it there. Just kidding. 71. And we only need one person. That's crazy. It's the most participants we had at a viewership. Okay. I think we're good. I'm going to... Yeah, so we got... If you'll likely see your name on here. Probably a bit annoying. Sup, man? Salty Tube. F-bomb. Sup? Overcome, you're in here, man. The only people that can't be in here are people who already won in the past. These are all the previous winners from our last giveaways. Gee, are we... we must have more people in than what the system's saying. Or... I'm getting there. Alright, I'm going to give it another minute or so. I'm sorry, guys. Just because there's a lot of people still jumping in. We're waiting on that posture anyways. Nothing really we can do. We can look at another asset, do TA on. Let's take a look at Solana. Solana's kind of in an interesting position. Solana broke downtrending momentum. Here, it front ran its golden pocket due to the on-chain pairing effect from Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin, what happened with it, we came down and we hit a 45-minute order block, and that helped induce a bounce after we grabbed the liquidity from yesterday's target for a short here. So that pairing liquidity helped drive Solana up and front ran the key level that we were watching for it, right? So this is the level that we were watching, hoping for along. We kind of got that low time frame inverse head and shoulders impact, and then we retested it. We broke momentum, and then this was the moment where if you're not just, I wouldn't just ever use momentum as a tool to tell you to jump into a trade. It's good for exit confluence, of course, but entry confluence is a little bit nerve-wracking. But what we did have happen is acceptance into this previous valley area low from a range that we were in back over here. If we zoom out, we can see the size of the range is pretty big. It's this range here. And this volume data came from historical range back in this leg here from our last cycle when the bull market top was called. We had this leg here where we consolidated for over, I believe, 100 and some days. 106 days or so. We had that acceptance in here last time. Once we got that acceptance, it told us that we were likely going to be getting to that value area high, using as resistance, came down, used the value area low as support, and then we left the value area and created new strong key levels. And now we're here again. We should prepare the same we did here, right? We should prepare for this to act as a form of support, and we had that acceptance lead into it. In confluence of breaking that momentum in the lower time frames, it does suggest a target of that previous value high, but we have to also be aware of all the opposing barriers that could lead us to a rejection, like the one that we're meeting right now. We just mitigated a 5-minute order block. We're testing this previous value area low from this range of consolidation that we were in for, I believe, 4 days. Yeah, 4 days and 14 hours. So you can mark that value area low as a form of barrier, right? So it looks like in confluence with Bitcoin's positioning that Solana could be good for, due for a good short too. Looks like we have a 10-minute order block down here that we can watch out as an opposing barrier. And we have demand right here that we can watch as opposing barrier too for the short. So this could be, I would say, prepare for a reaction at 81.85, right? But target at least the VWAP, and that's currently close to 80.59. Assuming we get the break, we might have a bearish flip if we break this neckline, or if we take the high first, then we can have a bearish change of character, which is what I prefer in terms of structure. And we could have the confluence of tapping that previous value area low and confluence of getting that structure that we need. And then we have a nice defined low for a break, and you target the VWAP and looking for a reversal. And we could become range bound, squeeze between this valley area low and our more macro valley area low here. So this is our flip zone, but I would prefer having a high taken first, so we can have the like stronger structural confluence. And this could also be an inducement, right? If we take that high, it would very, very likely induce more liquidity here, so we can use it as sell side liquidity to help drive the price down. All right, I think we're good for doing our giveaway now. Looks like it slowed down a bit. Julian, appreciate the heart there, but I recommend removing that, or else the system might not recognize it, unless you already did it. See if you're in the system. Yeah, you're on here. Okay, we're good. We're good. It worked. All right, guys, I'm going to do the giveaway, see who wins the $6,000 account first, and then we'll do a 100 karma giveaway, $100 worth of karma. I hope your family's doing well. If family's doing great, thanks, man. You think the market's going to pump this week? Yeah, very possible. We went over that scenario. We can go over that again. All right, let's go to the draw page. We got 82 people in the worth of tickets here. So we're going to go to the draw page, pick a winner. And Michael, I am not going to be able to pronounce a majority of that, but you're the winner here, bro. Or Mitchell. We got, so I got our winner. You're the winner of the $6,000 Klein funding account. I'll give a post inside the Discord. We have a process now to prevent impersonators from getting into your DMs and trying to screw you over. So what I recommend doing is just going over here and submitting a ticket under the help desk section right here. So click support ticket, and there's a claim prize button there. I'll also re-explain that inside the announcements, but yeah, you're the first winner. You got the $6,000 account. And let's take a look at the next winner for $100 worth of karma. Karma just pumped 20% recently, so we're starting to get some traction back in. Let's pick a winner. See who wins the $100 worth of karma. Yuzuki. Oh yeah, you're here. Nice. You've been here for a while. Congratulations, man. You won $100 worth of karma. All right, cool. All right, so I'll do that post right after the live's over here, guys. Congratulations. And next Friday, we're doing another giveaway. So if you feel like you got left out, but don't worry. We always do more prizes every Friday. And we're working on partnership offers to get you more every Friday, too. Yeah. And every time there's a winner, that winner can't win again. So it increases your odds of winning next time. Congrats, guys. Yeah, so some imposters try to claim someone else's prizes. I do have a verification process, so your prizes won't get stolen from impersonators either. It's kind of bizarre. Ref had that scenario where someone was pretending to be him to try to, but we verified his account safely. Luckily, we didn't give it away to the wrong person. Only 82 more giveaways until I win. Yeah. Well, you're a member, so your odds are a little bit higher. Oh, we're almost there. Almost got that sweep. We'll see if we'll get the sweep or not. This is our unclaimed high right here. At 69,292. And what we're looking for is this kind of scenario here. The front run is the SFP itself. You can target this low right here on the SFP in hopes that it breaks, which would give you a higher time frame confirmation of continuation with a 15-minute bearish change of character, right? So if we take that low, then we'd be targeting down here in hopes that we break through it. If we break through that, then our evolved target would be this low at 65K again. So we're almost there. How's the sell walls looking? We got our order books here telling us where the limit orders are, where people are planning on exiting. We have a wall right above us. 69,130. Yeah, so there's a lot of people are trying to front run that. The limit wall. Yeah, so we see that that sell wall is already inducing pressure to come down. Whenever you see horizontal resistance like this, it's evidence of sellers, right? And the order books kind of give you the story of how strong those sellers are. If there's like 1,000 Bitcoin sell wall, we're not going past this probably with this volume, right? If it's like 100 Bitcoin sell wall, it's weak. It takes a few taps, similar to this, and we could break through it relatively easily. A 3,000 Bitcoin sell wall usually induces tops like this up here. It's a form of price suppression. So like if you see like 3,000 or more here, we saw like I think it was like a 5,000 Bitcoin sell wall here, keeping the price from going higher, and eventually that wall was strong enough to beat the buyers. And we came down. Retail left ship during that moment. A lot of people in retail left here. So I'm hoping that they rejoin during this moment. We're tracking them on chain wise. The on chain metrics will tell you like the size of people's wallets, and we consider retail basically 10 Bitcoin or less. You can use on chain data like here we can use Chain Exposed is a good free one. Right, chainexposed.com, and you go to the unrealized profit and loss section. It'll tell you how much the supply is in a profit or loss. Now this one's slow to update. I usually use CoinGlass because you can get the updates a lot faster. But down here where it says address specific, where you see address bands balances, it tells you the weighted value in each wallet and how they're doing. So this is the quantity of wallets here on the right hand side, this little gauge, and this is the price, the black line here. So it kind of tells you relative to the price what people are doing, and we can see that a large amount of people left during the December 2024 top and January 2025 top there, and then we came down to like the April 7th low. So a lot of people left here, and they're still leaving. But what's happening in the background is institutions are taking all your Bitcoin, right? They're scaring you out. They're buying it all up. So these are wallets holding between 100 to 1,000 Bitcoin. So their plan's working. Everyone's falling for it. And based on the supply and a profit and loss, this is one of the best times to accumulate. So we can look at charts like this. This is the live one. I use CoinGlass to get the live one. It does cost money, unfortunately, but you guys have me. You can always ask me if you want me to look at something. But whenever we get to this green zone, this is when the supply is being held at 50% loss or less, right? And the last time we were there, Bitcoin's price tag was at $16,000. So right now, based on our current price, the supply, the price is, if it's below 62,800, more than 50% of the supply is capitulating. People are holding at a loss, which historically gives us the best opportunities to buy. And us being inside like this 250-day valley area, we might have a lot of time here. Unless we break this high, of course. We'll see what happens. This high is pretty important. 72,000. like 200 area here. Getting a close above that will give the local value area high the option, and the macro value high the option to act as a form of support. And then we'd be watching this supply here that could drive us down alongside this downturning momentum. But this is kind of like the early warning sign that we're dealing with right now. This is based on how we condition our current price action. If we close above this point of control, after mitigating the supply, we can get that rotation to the value area high and prepare for those continuations that could give us that break. I do like this for shorts though. We might be getting that SFP. We have 10 minutes left on this candle, and we'll find out if we get the SFP or not. And with the SFP, you target the most recent profit pullback in hopes that it breaks for continuations. Because then you get that change of character reaction. And then you put your stop loss above the strong high. If you're taking the SFP, same thing, right above that high. But you're front running. And based on this body candle structure, it's hard to trust. So you want to at least close the body to close below this area here so you can have an increased probability of winning. The SFP is validated so long as the candle closes below this wick. But getting below the body structure, that form of price acceptance helps drive the price down. The probability of the drop is much higher. When you look at the 3-minute posture, we got to close above there. So you don't have a 3-minute SFP. So if you're looking for SFPs or you're an SFP trader trying to find a key reaction off key levels, you just keep rotating to higher time frames until you have the confirmation. So we have a confirmation here on the 5 and the invalidation here on the 5. But the higher the time frame, the higher the win rate. So SFP validated, confirmation here. You'd watch this low, you target this low. But I'd rather wait for the 15-minute posture. Oh, we got the chat. Can you explain how we pay the membership via Discord? We don't. So we don't use gateways inside the Discord. The gateway is on the website. So you just go to like investshare.com. We use a bank level security through Teachable. So it's all safe through that way. And then when it comes to like canceling your membership, you log in the same way too. Go to investshare.com. And that's where you'll find all your courses. And then the Discord, we got the link from Sterling there. And it goes right from there. But there's also like an orientation course that will lead you to getting your roles and stuff like that. Getting your roles is super, super easy. We coded a system so you only have to click like one button, and then it'll apply your role once the API system verifies your ownership as a member. Or you can do that too. You can also send me a message. We're almost there, guys. 7 minutes left on this candle. Saying ticket number 504. Okay, cool. Probably see you there. Yeah, coma. Sorry, talk about 3-minute break of structure, 5-minute SFP. Some indecision here for sure. Yeah. Active doji. If you don't want to take the SFP, which is very reasonable, take the change of character instead. Change characters have higher probability of follow through. And the risk management's a lot easier to be consistent too. Stop loss be this high right now. Confirmation would be a body close below here. And the target we're looking at here. So 1 to 3. If we have an opposing reaction here, we might be forced out as a 1-to-1. It's better knowing that you should exit, right, and then hold, right? For example, here, I wanted to see, especially since we got this kind of reaction, right? We kind of tested this, hit this as resistance. I wanted to see if we get that close, right? If we got that close, then awesome. We can hold the trade, right? But we didn't get the close below for that break of structure continuation. This here is not a valid pullback, so you can't consider that. Lower time frames, yes, but here, once we had that break of momentum, and I saw that there's like no real sell pressure in the order books, I just got out here, and everyone got the signal. So anyone who's like curious what the signals look like in the server, it's pretty. I try to be as transparent as possible on what we're looking for. So not every day we'll be able to give like a signal this clean. Sometimes I give pathing and telling you where it's going to go because the risk management isn't there for an actual trade. But if you're in an active trade at that time, I'll tell you where you should prepare for opposing reactions, right? And but this is like, if we have those setups that are really obvious, I'll tell you what we're looking for. 15-minute candle close below like 67,568 and 20 cents, right? Like we had here. Stop loss suggestion and our target. And then I'll tell you when I've entered, when I'm moving my stop loss, right? And then if I'm doing any limit exits, which isn't very common, only happens when I'm about to go to sleep or if I'm stepping away from the computer. And then when I fully exit the trade. I try to make it easy mode. And I try to visualize, like, you know, what it was like for me when I first started trading, when I give the signals. So it becomes a learning experience if you don't take it, right? Or even if you do. Okay. It's not looking like it's going to give us what we need. We probably already grabbed all that liquidity. We could pull up the liquidation heat map and refresh. Oh yeah, we already did, yeah. The downside with this chart is updates every 15 minutes. Refresh it. But the positive is it's free to use. There's like a lot of cool tools on here. Look at the 24-hour and see how we induced. Yeah, we induced liquidity below us right here, which is what we were just talking about, right? If we get the high taken, it'll induce liquidity below. And that inducement, especially during the New York session, help drive price down. Knock them out either through a swipe or through a close. If we get the close, then awesome, we take the trade. That form of acceptance tells us what the liquidity is being used for. Exit or entry conditions. 3-day though, zoom that out. We took majority of it. People are jumping in with high leverage right now. So they already got knocked out, some of them. A little too early in my opinion. So we had people jumping in likely based on a 3-minute SFP. That's the only reasoning in my mind that people would jump in with that much conviction. We do have that golden pocket there where we are, the POC here. We did mitigate supply. We did take all this liquidity. So I understand people's reasoning, but I think it's too soon. Realistically, all they're going to do is just create magnets above us and help drive the price up, knock them right out. So at 69,655, there's like $35 million there now worth of liquidity. So if we sweep this high, they're going to get knocked out. That kind of like behavior induces regression trends sometimes. Like regression trends are like structure like this, right? Or descending regression trends. Starting to like, it depends on this candle here. He has a big front run to take that. I don't like the body posture. Yeah. These people are called top longers. Yeah. How you doing, Explode? Those who FOMO is strong. Yeah, I gotta... If you guys have your rules written in a checklist format, it really helps get rid of the emotions. You don't have to be a part of the liquidity, right? You want to use liquidity as a tool. You don't want to be a part of liquidity. Think like a market maker. Where would they plan on entering? Where do they plan on exiting? Been busy? Yeah, I saw you in that Discord there. It's nice seeing you back there. Okay. Yeah, it's slow. It's slow right now. We had that 15-minute candle close. We did confirm an SFP on the 15-minute time frame. So it does have a suggestive target of this low. But it's just the body candle closes. It's tough to trust. So what you could look for is an order block creation during this moment. And that would come from an engulfing candle close. From this next candle, we'd have to close below here. Right, and get that order block. But the volume looks like it's pretty much died. Sorry about that. This is the PVSRA. It's a form of volume candles. They're just like your regular volume candles, except they give you more data. The blue candles, there's a look back of 20 candles, right? So if you see a blue candle, it's like 150% increased volume relative to the previous 20. Green is like 200% more volume relative to the previous 20. So it gives you an indication of potential institutional involvement, especially when you see those blue ones popping up. And a lot of trade participants. So you see that happening is telling you a lot of trade participants are agreeing with your idea. It's good confidence to see that kind of volume come in after your confirmation or during your confirmation. And whenever you see a doji and you see that kind of volume, then it's telling you we have an incomplete confirmation. So the next following candle will normally give you the confirmation that you need. But yeah, volume kind of like started to fall off as soon as we got up here, which makes sense because we're in an area of opposing, like a lot of conflict for a continuation. And that's why we're preparing for that short. But man, I'd like to give it to us slow. And there's our broad momentum. If we were to like range here until we hit that, we'll be here for like 12 hours or so. 24 hours is just nuts. So I'm hopeful that we breach this and we don't have to wait too long for the setup, because I don't want to jump into the setup when we're getting in closer to the daily candle close and the volume starts to become unreliant. We get that close here. We just watch this as an opposing threat in hopes that we get the continuation. And target here. We got 104 people here. We're getting close to breaking a record. What's up, guys? For anyone who's new here, my name is Kyle. Basically, I've been trading since 2019. I grew an account from $26 to 40 BTC. But a majority of those gains came from a range bound strategy. But I do macro inverse perpetual trades, and the conditions for one is almost about to be met. I use on-chain data to help support macro moves. I did 2 huge trades that changed my life. I did risk to lose too much in them, of course. The first one I risked to lose like 10% of my account. The second one I risked to lose 6% of my account. Safe risk management would be 1%, even 0.5%. So you have like 100 to 200 bullets in your ammunition. You can be consistent as a trader that way. But sometimes when you have those macro trades, yeah. This time around, I'm only going to be risking to lose 1%. Obviously, when I first started trading, I wasn't really in a good financial state. So I took things with a huge amount of urgency. Now it's I'm a lot more relaxed. Jesus Doer, let's take a look, man. Let's see what you're saying there. What is the short setup? So to re-explain this setup, we waited for positioning. Like we either wanted positioning to be above this local value area high for this like 2-day range. So we were looking here, or we were looking here as well. The reason why we're looking here is for 2 reasons, a handful of reasons. We have our golden pocket from this low to this high pull that we just tapped now. And all we were lacking right now is structure, because I'm not a knife catcher. I will not just ape into a short because we tapped a fib level, unless all my rules have already been met. And that normally doesn't occur unless we have a pullback after like a change of character occurrence, right? So that's the only time I'd usually limit into like a fib pull, is when the conditions have already suggested that we're going to be trending in that direction. And this is not that scenario. More of a macro wise, yes, we're kind of in a downtrend. But locally, this could be a spark for a continuation. So what I'm looking for is evidence of a rejection through a bearish change of character. We have the golden pocket we spoke about. We just mitigated the supply here. We have liquidity that just got wiped out, right? That could be used as exit liquidity for market makers. And now what we're really lacking right now is just the candle close below this area to define that change of character occurrence. Very similar to what we did with yesterday's trade. We just wanted to wait for that higher high, then close, acceptance into the value area, and then target the value area low, or the liquidity pool below certain key levels. And we're doing that right now too. Right now it's kind of a deviation of a local value area. We're also tapping like a macro value area high, which I can go back in time and show you where that came from. And we're looking for a failure of acceptance into this value area, right? And so far we do have evidence of failure already through this SFP, but based on the body posture, on how the candles close, what you want to see have happen is a close below this level, sacrifice some of your profits in exchange for security and safety and higher probability move. So we'd have an order block creation if we close below this body. So that's one way you can front run my setup, but it does come with a lot more risk. We're really overextended in the RSI. So what we need, all we're lacking is that body candle close below here for that confirmation. And if we don't get it, then you just saved yourself from a continuation up, because we're close to mitigating our potential risks for a rotation back up to the value area high, which is at 70,641. I got a body candle close above this point of control. It gives it that way higher probability of that rotation up. And this 250-day value area came from that range that we were in, back in like February, when the market was being suppressed to squeeze retail out. Right after the ETFs were launched, when Bitcoin was at around 47K and we hit that macro golden pocket inducing this reaction. But this was the moment where we started seeing a lot more. See, like if you look at this chart, this is the sharks, people holding, like addresses holding between 100 and 1,000 Bitcoin. And you can see right here, relative to that price, right here at 46K, right after the ETFs launched for Bitcoin, this is when the accumulation really started happening and retail started exiting. So this retail is like 1 to 10 Bitcoin or less. And they started exiting here. I find like the smartest money is the fish, people between 10 and 100 Bitcoin. They've called the top perfectly last cycle, right? And this isn't the on-chain evidence that I use to define an entry, but this is like really cool, interesting way to track what other people are doing and how they're kind of matching the narrative that's being pushed. So, and the tricksters are like the sharks, whales, humpbacks. Okay, but yeah, that's an over explanation of the short that we're looking at here. Let's see what we got in the chat. We got gambling, not trading. What are you talking about? Yeah, you got to make sure all your conditions are met. So in order to turn trading from gambling into actual something that you can depend on for a living, you need to back test the crap out of the rules that you're choosing for your setup. And you need to make a checklist on them. So for example, you can take every single bullish change of character, every single bearish change of character, and you could back test them to find out what the probability is of at least getting like a 1 to 2, for example, right? That's a very generic way of doing a back test. But if you layer confluence on top of that, like value area low data, value area high data, breaks of momentum, RSI divergence, there's thousands of different things you could do. VWAP, right? Where is my VWAP? What happened to my VWAP? I got to get that added back on. But your goal is to stack as many confluence as you can and backtest the impact it has over your probability of winning the trade. Otherwise, yes, you are gambling. You have no idea, like why you're just trading off emotion at that point. Let's see, and backtesting emotion. You can backtest emotion, by the way, whenever you enter your trade. This is really, when you're backtesting emotion, this is more so at the stage in your trading where you already have a strategy and you're finding out based on how you are feeling, how it could impact your win rate. Because your emotions are what usually breaks your discipline. And if you break your discipline based on how you're feeling, you can find out like, okay, I'm feeling this way about the setup. Maybe paper trade and find out like how it'll play out and how your emotions impact your win rate. For example, I see it all the time, people trading, like not just feeling emotional in terms of anger or FOMO or FUD. I also mean like, how are you feeling in terms of like, did you get sleep? Are you sick? Because I promise you, like, I have like most of my losses, you can go through like how you're feeling, and like if you're feeling sick, you shouldn't be trading because it can really mess up your ability to look left, see your opposing confluences, ruins your focus, right? Little stuff like that. I've even back tested how well I did following a specific health routine too, like a health protocol. But that stuff, it takes time because you can only forward test that, sorry. But I'm a value area trader, so you have to define rules on when you do your polls, or else your results can vary pretty easily. So the rules I look to, when pulling a fixed range volume profile to have that extra consistency is a demand zone or supply zone being created. So structure like this: impulse move down, basic structure, impulse move down, bullish change of character, and opposing bearish change of character. And then during that moment, you can do a fixed range volume profile pull, which is this tool right here, to help define a value area low and value area high. If we mitigated the supply, if we came up into it, then you include that into your pull. If we used it as resistance, you do not. You would just pull prior to that area, and you just mark that zone as an area of interest that could be used to help guide you into your trades. And if you're trying to choose a bias, and not solely based on how the profile looks, that's a whole other lesson altogether. But if you're doing it based on trend, which a majority of you should, like contrarian entries are higher risk, then you should be focusing on, shorts if you're going against the supply zone. If you have a scenario where you have an impulse move up, base of structure, impulse move up, creating demand, then you have the opposing bearish change of character, bullish change of character, pull fixed range during that moment too. There are dozens and dozens of ways of using a fixed range volume profile, but this, I promise you, if you backtest this, it'll give you great results, insane results. We might get that close below this doji, guys. We can use, there's a great indicator that you could use to save time on drawing your order blocks. Right, and we already tapped, created and tapped instantly, but equilibrium point could still be met. So we built that order block. So the SFP is doing well so far. This is the front run scenario. This is where you'd be targeting. Just get rid of this noise. So you're targeting this low on the SFP. I believe Coma is already in his setup. So now what we're lacking is the body candle close here to give you that way higher probability, right? This is showing us a failure of acceptance to a valley area right now. Acceptance comes from a break of structure, right? That break of structure would have came if we had the close above this wick, right? Instead, we swept it and closed below it, giving us an SFP. So now we're just lacking that close below here to give us that change of character. And then off to the drop we go. VWAP confluence with the orb high now, so we have to watch that along the way. This will be a babysitting section right here. You can set your pre-alarms if you'd like. So a pre-alarm could be off maybe this wick level high here. And you can have an alarm set for crossing once only. Don't do once per bar close in that scenario, or else you only get notified if a candle closes below it. These are great when you're looking for changes of character, once per bar close, or a break past a key level, like a valley area high or valley area low, so you can be notified when price action's above or below valley area if you're a valley area trader. It's really, really handy. But in this scenario, you can do only once. So if you take the entry, and if you're still a very emotional trader, there's two reasons why you could be emotional. You're risking to lose too much, or you have a sense of uncertainty because you haven't back tested your probability on your setup. The more you know, the less that heart fluttering feeling you feel in your trade, the better. You want your trading to be boring. You want your risk to be boring, consistent. So you get that close. You can set your alarm here. You can be reactional if we have like a bullish change of character here, and you're probably making peanuts on that kind of reaction, and you can look for a new entry. Otherwise, if we get a close below the VWAP, acceptance into the orb, all we really have is the POC and momentum to hold us up. It is a strong point of control. If we breach that, then our target is very, very likely to be hit after that. So this is the babysitting stage here. And this is assuming we even get the confirmation. I do got to head out soon, guys. We got a call coming up with the community with David, and I want to congratulate him on his new book. He wrote a book on kind of make mindset, help you with your mindset. Since it's close to the weekend, not going for full PV. Yeah. Depends what you're doing. If you're at home, chilling at home, I get that. Not going for the full TP. Yeah, the order block that we just created has been mitigated already. Man, the volume just really died off. Happy ending trading. It's up 12%. All right. How's Solana doing? Okay, Solana got the structure we want. We tap that value area low, right? We just talked about that. We had 15-minute order block there. So it's getting its reaction, follow through alongside Bitcoin. You can have an internal break here, but this is what you really want to have broken. And our key level that we're watching is at $80.59. An internal little demand zone. Maybe we'll get a bounce off this 15-minute order block. Maybe we get another sweep of the high and then come down. Bitcoin's kind of the boss today of altcoins. So just be aware of that when you're doing your altcoin trading. Unless you're trading something with relative strength, there's a lot of pairing liquidity with Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin drops, everything will drop with it. At least a vast majority of things will. And sometimes alts get punished a lot more than what Bitcoin offers, right? It does give me so much trap vibes here too. Let's see what we got in chat. Do you trade alts or only Bitcoin? I'll trade alts, but if there's an opportunity coming from Bitcoin that I like, I'm going to take it over any altcoins. You can, if it's the percentage-based move that you're after when it comes to alts, you can just use leverage on Bitcoin to get that. But realistically, it shouldn't really matter. Your goal is to be consistent as possible. Stick to the same stop loss budget over and over and over again so you can actually scale as a trader. You don't want your losses to outweigh a majority of your wins, right? It's supposed to be vice versa, right? You want your wins to outweigh your losses. So you can be profitable even with a low win rate. Like mathematically, you can break even with 1 to 2 risk-reward ratio setups with a 35% win rate. Minus the fees, of course. Can we look into Ethereum? Yeah, we sure can. Let's take a look at Ethereum, see how it's doing. ETH's positioning was unique, I believe. Had some relative... Oh no, I was thinking of XRP. So yesterday, what we were talking about yesterday with Ethereum, we had... broke its value area low. In terms of like positioning, Ethereum's kind of got some relative strength right now. Oh, so we broke this downtrending momentum right here, used it as a form of support. Had our change of character occurrence here, leading into acceptance into this value area. Our point of control was flush with the zone, which like helped us a lot with understanding this correction and our drop here that worked really, really well in confluence with Bitcoin's bearish change of character yesterday. Well, this was a bearish flip, sorry, not bearish change of character. We failed to get that higher high, but we had the confluence of losing the VWAP when we came down. We breached this order block that we had drawn as a 15-minute order block. We swept this low. So this is the absolute best opportunity for a long was here. But we did front run the golden pocket and the 30-minute order block that we were watching, preparing for a bounce. And that's Bitcoin's fault. Bitcoin bounced off a 45-minute order block yesterday, and the pairing liquidity helped drive the price back up. Now, we are now having acceptance inside of this valley area. So 2093 is going to be a key level to watch. We have, in terms of valley area data, most of our interest is between this valley area high and this valley area low. So up here, we'd prepare for shorts again. And we'd be targeting this valley area low and a retest of this previous high. Now, if Bitcoin confirms a drop, then we might not even reach this valley area high unless we see relative strength with Solana and it just slows down to a halt. I don't think that's likely, but yeah, if it slows down to a halt because we're hitting this supply right here, right? What we could end up seeing is just price action coming down, and yeah, I think it's just more likely just to come down and test these lows, this valley area low, and tap this previous high if Bitcoin has follow through with its short conditioning that we're looking at right now. And it's looking great right now. So congrats to anyone who took the SFP, but you're coming up to your current barrier right now, your primary target. If we break this, then your target will evolve, and then this setup will be activated. And we start targeting this low while being very mindful of this level here. I appreciate the tip, man. And yeah, we can look at Jasmy. In euros, man, I live off Canadian dollars right now. So we're getting punished hard. But yeah, basically the same, we're getting the same kind of correlation with Ethereum. Its positioning isn't as like lucrative, but we'll see what happens. If we break below this valley area low, we could have much more stronger fall through. We can delete this. This was an opposing bearish order block that was created from this impulse move and this doji candle. We mitigated that and we closed above it. We had a good tap reaction. When you're looking at your opposing barriers after looking for a short, let's say you're wanting to short that, you'd be looking, okay, we had the VWAP against you, have momentum against you. So if we tap that, we have to watch and see if we get an opposing reaction, and that could knock you right out. So it's best to sometimes wait in a scenario like that for structure like a bearish change of character, so you can have more follow through and you can use your strong high as your stop loss guard. Delete some of this noise. All right. We have a local one here too. And I'll jump onto Jasmy right after this. Then I gotta go very shortly. Okay. We do have a 15-minute order block right here. This doji reaction, impulse candle. As long as it closed above that wick, it would have been an order block. Order blocks, for anyone who's new to them, think of them as two candlestick patterns that define evidence of potential residual buy or sell orders. So you can use them as confluence. Don't use them as entry conditions unless we already have, like a scenario like this is the only time I'd use them as an entry condition. So we have, like say, a bullish change of character, but we have an aggressive close up. So you can use a fib pull from like the low to the high. Use your golden pocket to your 786, and if you have an order block there, even better. And you can use that to limit in because your entry conditions have been met, but the R&R conditions weren't, right? So you're entering off of that. But if you do that, you have to watch the unclaimed high as your first barrier. So yeah, let's jump into Jasmy. I wonder when last time we looked at Jasmy. One of our coaches, David, likes to trade it. Yeah, last time we looked at it was January 23rd. Let's see what TA we had ready at that time. It looks, terrible. So we were in our demand zone that we had drawn. I guess I didn't send it back. There we go. Its macro positioning is great. Let's just zoom out really quick. So we're on the 4 hour. Looks like I was drawing a lesson on order books. Alt click. Yeah, so you press control and you click and you drag and you can delete more things at once. Your goal is just to try to get as many anchor points as you can so you can delete all that noise. If it doesn't encase an anchor point, then it won't delete it. So I can put this over top of this trend line, for example, and I won't delete the trend line. Okay, so a lot of noise on this chart. Sorry about that. But yeah, we mitigate this entire demand zone. We technically already did from the wick level low, but doesn't mean it's not an area of interest, right? We have a value area here that we're kind of helping induce this big move up after we broke out. And what we're trying to do is not get acceptance inside of this previous macro value area here. Proper acceptance into that could lead to a rotation down to 0.00338. Like nightmare kind of scenarios. But we swept the low from this demand zone. So think of it like we're chipping away at armor. Like this was a technical breach. We stabbed it with a sword, but we hit it again and again and again. So now if we get a close below here, that armor has been destroyed and there's nothing left protecting this level. So just be aware of that when you're thinking about maybe a spot purchase on something like this. We have our downtrending momentum here, right? We just broke it. So this represents the pace of the sellers, right? So it's good confluence to tell you if you're in a short position, for example, especially as a swing trader, that the conditions might be changing and you should prepare for opposing structural reactions, like a bullish change of character, for example. So here, this is a 6 hour time frame. We got supply right here. We mitigated a massive majority of it during this moment, likely inducing liquidity, which makes a reliable structure. This does look white coffee. We might have like an inverse head and shoulders forming. Breaking past this wick level high with the body candle close would mitigate this supply entirely, which helped induce this pullback. And if we get a close above this, we would have a 6 hour bullish change of character, right? Because we came up, got a proper 2 consecutive candle pullback. There's no inside bar reaction. And we got the low breached, rotating our strong high from looks like around here to here. So close above that could give us a big move up while being mindful of the fact that we have a 50-day EMA right in our face. So depending on how if we do get the close, this is all hypothetical right now, but if we do get that close and we get above that 50-day EMA, it could start a trend-bound move from this demand zone back up. And I would be looking first at this. We do have supply, of course, here, supply here, where we can expect potential opposing reactions or range-bound price action. The range-bound price action will be great. Gives you that higher probability of inducing more liquidity above us to help drive the price up. But if you visualize the order flow of Jasmy right now, there's likely a decent amount of liquidity resting above these highs. And you can verify that by doing your measurement poll, finding out the time that has passed. It's been 34 days. You can go to liquidation heat map. You want to encase that. So you want to click on symbol here on coinglass.com. You can just look at the heat maps here to find out the liquidity. And then you can find out that pair. So we're looking for Jasmy, Jasmy. Okay, this is our 24-hour that's about to populate. We just grabbed a bunch of the 24-hour liquidity. So it looks a little cold above us right now for Jasmy. So this will help your bias to prepare for a potential local short. I guess most of the liquidity is resting below us right now. But if we look at this in a more macro setting, we had a 34-day downtrend. So we can look at the month. You can see we have, a large majority of the liquidity is above us with a cluster at around 0.0084. that begins. There's a decent amount of interest there. So if you're looking at a macro exit plan, you'd be thinking like a market maker around here, and they might be preparing for an exit plan around that area. But inverse head and shoulders are great for inducement of liquidity to help drive attraction to the upside. You can look at the 3-month as well. Yeah, so lots of interest up around 0.009. But yeah, take it one stage at a time, one barrier at a time. Now, if we look a little bit locally for Jasmy now, instead, this is more of a macro analysis where we're preparing for a potential run up. So let's delete some of our noise here. I'm going to reapply some key levels. Strong volume shelf resistance up here. We'll encase this to mitigation. Okay, and I will zoom in. 15-minute time frame. Awkward. But Jasmine's always kind of a little awkward. Our local value area high is flush with the previous value area high. So our positioning locally is bearish, but we don't have any evidence of us going down just yet. We do have, on the 15-minute time frame, a proper pullback almost occurring. We just need to have 2 consecutive red candles, then the higher high, close below the double top neckline, getting us bearish change of character, and then acceptance into the value area, and then targeting the value area low here. So we don't have that positioning yet, so you can't assume that we're going to be going down yet. Just like with Bitcoin, we can't assume that we're going down yet. We're about 75% of the target was reached for the SFP, but we don't have the bearish change of character yet. So Jasmine's kind of telling us the same kind of story in the sense where we're trying to build that story, but nothing is proven just yet. What you want to watch out for, because this is a macro pullback after breaching a high, we could have that break of structure in larger time frames and prepare for a big move up, but we do have supply right in our face. So we can, if you're an SFP trader, this is a good wick level to watch. Right here. And that's at 0.00643. So if you're looking for a sweep reaction for a scalp, that's a great spot to watch. But then you have to watch these previous highs as a potential barrier, acceptance below it, maybe a bearish change of character. Be a great spot to prepare for shorts as well. So we're between here and here is basically a spot where you prepare for shorts, but you have to depend on the structure first to give you the evidence of rejection. And I recommend, if you don't know when I'm saying change of character or break a structure, then there's a big lesson that you got to learn first, and that's market structure. And there's lots and lots and lots of lessons out there on market structure. But it's also included in the course there, guys. So if you want to learn more about that, it is a long lesson, but it's a really, really important one because it's kind of like the foundation of your first layer of confluence that you'd want to look for is like what is the candles telling us, right? And not just by a per candle individual basis, but in terms of like posture, what is it telling us? Is there sellers coming back in control, buyers coming back in control? And stuff like that. What's happening to liquidity? Is there an inducement of liquidity? Yeah, we're at that zone where you prepare for shorts. And you're targeting this local point of control at first. So we can leave some drawings here for anyone who uses this chart. You can go to the Discord and type exclamation point charts. and it'll give you a list of all my charts. But yeah, we're looking at something like this with acceptance into the value area and then targeting the value area low. I hope that helps you out. We're getting that regression trend vibes, which was I talked about that earlier in the live. I was worried about a regression trend because of people being crazy with their leverage right now. It kind of induces attraction to sweep highs, knock them out. We got people aping in right now aggressively on Bitcoin. Back to symbol. BTC. Yeah, lots of people jumped in the short, likely due to the SFP reaction. It's understandable. But we also induced liquidity right below our neckline. The key level that we want to have taken is beginning to act like a magnet. But we have also a magnet right above us too. So at 69,699, there's $82 million there. So right above that wick. But if we sweep that, it gives the candle the opportunity to close above the point of control. And then we'll very, very likely get a continuation to 70,600. So if you're in a long position, you'll be begging for that scenario. And hopefully if you're in a long, yeah, this was the best positioning for a long was down here. Ascending to the bottom, tested that 45-minute order block that we came down to. Broke into the value area, retested the highs, break a structure. This was the safest play right here because we had a proper acceptance into the value area during that moment. A candle close is not always enough. Having a change of character leading into it is amazing, like this. That's proper acceptance. And if you don't get that, which we didn't because we didn't have proper pullback, we didn't take the low, then you need to see a break of structure. It'll be internal, but you need to see that break of structure leading into it. And then you can target the value area high. And your stop loss would be here, your invalidation point, because then you would get an opposing internal bearish change of character. And at that point, yeah, you may have sweated a little bit during this moment, but it held up, it was protected, maintained momentum, and then we came up, hit that target. So that would be the best time to be jumping into a long. In my opinion, based on how I trade, there are hundreds of ways of trading, but this comes with really, really high probability of return to value area highs. And your main boss, you got to watch out for its point of control and potential supply zones internally. And there wasn't very much supply because of how we dropped yesterday. We didn't build any form of consolidation and dropped aggressively. The only real place that you need to watch is, I think, these highs here. Sorry, I'm late. It's all good, man. We're about to leave. I'm sorry, bro. Wanted to know if some Discord on Elite for 3 or 4 months and make an annual. We do have an annual and subscription for Standard and Elite. I didn't create the code to provide a discount for the year, but I can make that happen right after this live. So you can shoot me a ticket. But yeah, crypto Wiz, I hope that analysis helped you with your Jasmine there. Okay, man, Bitcoin just died off in terms of volume. All right, guys, I gotta go. I know it was kind of repetitive on what we're planning for here, but I'm still waiting on that candle close here. Just a recap. Candle close below this wick. That will give us a bearish change of character. And failure of acceptance into this 4-day value area. and a rejection off the 250-day value area, previous value area high, right? So lots of good confluence here. We just have to golden pocket from the high to the low pole. The invalidation point comes from a candle body close above this high, and that could lead us to a run up to this value area high and invalidate this potential short. If we confirm this, you likely will have to babysit around the VWAP. We have VWAP against us. So you prefer scenarios like this, right? Where we confirm, if we're confirming a trade, we have VWAP on our back, right? Because it'll act as a guardian to our capital and help drive price down with you. So this is going to be our first barrier alongside the orb and momentum and our POC. So this is going to be a babysitting stage in hopes that you don't have an opposing reaction. I'll tell you guys when I'll enter in the Discord, and I'll tell you guys if I have to exit as well early. So if we have that opposing reaction, I'd rather take small gains or be close to break even rather than accepting a loss, right? So if we close below this, then awesome. All the bosses are beat, and then we come right down, likely right to our target right after that. And maybe even see a continuation, but this is a golden pocket that we have not tapped. We front ran it thanks to that 45-minute order block that made things awkward for a lot of traders. But yeah, that golden pocket is an area to watch as well for a reaction for longs if anyone's looking for a new long position down at these lows. I am hopeful for a sweep of this macro long so we can evolve macro structure and we can prepare for an inverse perpetual trade. Inverse perpetual trade is when you're using your asset as collateral rather than USDT. So I can earn more Bitcoin along the way. As I watch the value of my holdings go up, so too the value of my position. And then when I close the position, I earn it in Bitcoin. I keep saying inverse perpetual. That's the old way they used to call it back in like 2019, 2020. Now they rebranded it to coin margin. So if you're wondering, I'm talking about coin margin in that kind of scenario. But a majority of my trades are done with USDT to earn more USDT in the futures environment. All right, guys. So that's what I'm planning. Trade safe. Please, please, please trade with your stop loss, unless you have a professional amount of experience martingale trading. But yeah. Please, please, please use your stop loss. Be safe. Reach out to me in the Discord if you need help with anything. Congratulations on the 2 winners today. I'll be doing an announcement post right after this live. And for those of you who are already a part of the community, I'll see you in the call that's about to occur in about 30 minutes. And we're jumping on with David there. All right, see you guys. Wayne, just to quickly answer your question before I hop off. How did you pull that golden pocket from the wick low? Oh, did you pull the golden pocket from the wick low? We have, yes, from the low to the high. So extreme low to extreme high gave you this golden pocket location right here. But we encased our box zone with the 45-minute area yesterday. You can look at yesterday's live and you can see what I was talking about. And that's why it was part of our potential targeting for a reaction against us. All right, cool. All right, guys. I'll see you in the next one. I'm live again on Monday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. And that's our time every day on the weekdays. I hope you enjoy your weekend. Happy Valentine's Day. Like I said before, we do have our Valentine's Day promotion. So you can use the code Valentine's Day for 50% off for life. Same discount that we did for Black Friday. So I'll see you guys hopefully within Discord. If not, I'll see you guys on Monday on our live. See you guys.